We've got a bit blasé about power, haven't we? We say 1,000 horsepower, when we should say 1,000 horsepower. It's a big thing. So how have they got it into a little Porsche 911? This is the Gunther Werks F-26. Join us to find out what 1,067 horsepower is like in a 993 generation Porsche modified by Gunther Werks. We'll drive it on some great roads, drag race it on track, give you a behind the scenes tour of Gunther Werks and show you a one-off car inspired by Iron Man. No, really. But first let's talk about that power, because there's an obvious answer to how it fits in this car. It's in the back, where it's always been. But look, 20 years ago it took Bugatti 16 cylinders and 4 turbos to break the 1,000 horsepower barrier. But right now, here's an old air-cooled Porsche 911 with just 6 cylinders and 2 turbos, rocking more power than a Veyron, more than a Lamborghini Revuelto or a Ferrari 849 Testarossa, but with none of their hybrid baggage. Level pegging with the infamous Corvette ZR1. Big power, serious power. Right, let's get into the business end of the F-26, shall we? Open up the huge carbon back deck and wing and look into there, because it is a thing of beauty, but a thing of beauty that produces 1,067 horsepower at 7,600 RPM and 750 pounds-foot of torque at about 4,500. Now, the small proviso there is that that is on E85. On pump gas, though, it's still about 880 horsepower, which, let's face it, is plenty from a 4-litre engine that is still air-cooled and only has 2 valves per cylinder. It's madness, isn't it? So let's just follow the airflows through, okay? So for cooling air for the fan, comes in over the back deck, down through there, and into the fan, which is still belt-driven off the alternator, and has these carbon shrouds over them to pull the air down through the engine, over the cylinder heads and out the bottom. How they keep it cool, and honestly, it stays cool. It's amazing how it does that. Anyway, engine air then comes in from there. They keep the channel as straight as they possibly can, over here and round and back into the turbos. And this is my favourite feature. The fact that you can still see the turbos behind here, in behind the number plate, I just think is so cool. That is the older Porsche 935 way of doing things. And it's just terrific. And then the pressurised air is forced up through these carbon tubes at up to 1.45 bar and into the top of the cylinder heads. I mean, they've got space in that engine bay, and yet it's over 1,000 horsepower. It's ridiculous, and it's pretty. I mean, I don't think I'd want the old leather-lined boot in there, but all the same, that is a bit of a work of art. Right, let's close it down, give it a click, and then we've got the rear wing here, okay? The only reason it has this central stanchion is that they wanted to make this as light and the carbon as thin as possible. It started flexing, so the only way they could support it was stick a central stanchion on. Despite the enormity of this rear wing, Gunther Werks don't talk about actual downforce figures, but for me, this is more of a mechanical grip car. Very inspired by motorsport though, entirely carbon bodied, but also it uses the standard mounting points for the engine. But because they wanted to improve the weight distribution, the rear wheel has been moved back 30 mil. But still, we're talking a weight distribution of about 39% front, 61% rear. So we've still got quite a rear biased car. The door, very trick though. Carbon skinned outside, it's also carbon skinned inside and in between, because nothing about this door is carried over. What you have here is a full carbon frame inside it and saves 20 kilos per side on the door. Now, while we've got the door open, I also want to talk about the much fatter sill you've got down here, because it's all part of Gunther Werks' attempts to make this as much stiffer as it can be, 250% stiffer than an old 993, which is really quite considerable, isn't it? And then outside, that's not an original 993 part, and neither is the wing mirror. They've both been recast to be slimmer and more tactile. This is quite trick, actually. 3D printed this lower bar here so they can run the wires through it and into the original motors in the mirror housing, and that's all been shrunk wrapped around those components. And that's true of the whole car. It's got this motorsporty vibe to it, where you've got all these components and the bodywork is sort of laid thinly upon them. And my favourite bit is this area here. I love the fact you can see so much of that front wheel thanks to those cutaways, and then the vents up there. And when you look in and behind there, you see this rose-jointed double wishbone front suspension. It's really trick. Before I go any further, I do want to talk about these wheels, because in this day and age, an 18-inch wheel sounds rather small, really. However, I think they do lend the car more of a motorsport vibe, because you get a bit more tyre sidewall in relation to your wheel. These wheels, though, machined in-house by Gunther Werks from Magnesium. They're super cool, super light, and conceal a set of Brembo's CCM-R brakes. 381mm discs on the front here, 6-piston calipers. And then we've got the tyres. Hoosier's on here. I don't know Hoosier as a tyre brand. You can alternatively have Continentals on it. Right, let's go and have a look under the bonnet, shall we? Because I want to show you what they've got on display under here, which is quite cool. So first and foremost, you've got a lot of cooling pack here for the radiators for the engine, but then pièce de résistance, look, a pair of remote reservoir dampers under here, manually adjustable, but also they've got presets in the cabin so you can have it in comfort, sport and track. Little bit of luggage space, but actually the coolest thing in a way is what you can't see under here, because for this car they have had to develop an entire wiring harness from scratch. Big advantage of that, it saves 30 kilos alone. Now, what do you think of the way this looks? For me, it's actually quite cool because it's got this sort of motorsporty element to it. Obviously riffs on the old Slantnose Porsche 935 racers, which were super cool. But on that whole sliding scale of resto and mod, I'd definitely say this is less restored, more modified. Shall we go and have a look inside? All right, let's jump in. Now, first thing I want to talk about is this slogan on the door sill. Define your limits by going beyond them. It's just a bit live, laugh, love, isn't it? They could do that better. Right, seat, let's close the door up. Seats, I would like a little bit more under thigh support. I find these a bit short in the cushion. However, apart from that, they are really good actually. A little bit hunchy on the shoulders, but they fit well. Then we've got the steering wheel. It does look to me a little bit like something from Star Trek with all these sort of bars and bits on it. But the main thing with this is a classic Porsche thing. The steering wheel is very slightly offset. If I'm here, everything lines up. If I'm here, where you naturally sit in the seat, everything's tiny bit off center. It just doesn't matter in the long haul though. You get over it. It's the same with the pedals. Again, the brake pedal looks like it's too far up the footwell, but as soon as you start using it, it's perfect for heel and towing. Right, let's start over on this side. Here we've got a patch of buttons which don't really fit in with the general aesthetic here. These are original 993 bits, the mirror controls and the window switches. They're the only bits of the car that Gunther Werks hasn't sort of modified by itself. And of course, you've got the classic 5-dial layout across here. My only issue with which is with this smaller diameter steering wheel, a lot of the speed is hidden. All the important bits of the speedo are hidden. Above 80 miles an hour, you've basically got not much of an idea what you're doing unless you come round the side of it. And the boost gauge, it's cool to see that as well. Then, right, below that, we have this other panel of bits across here. So in conjunction with this, your power modes on the steering wheel for track, sport and comfort. So track's the full 1067, then about 850 in sport, which is plenty, let's face it. Then you've got down here, you've got your damper control. Again, comfort, sport and track, or you can manually play around with them. Then you've got your light controls here, the key to start it, heating controls, and then an old classic Porsche stereo here, but it only looks classic. It still supports Apple CarPlay in there, which is handy. Now, one nice feature, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing thing, but your phone tucks down tight, and they apparently bought about 30 phone cases for the whole variety of phones and made sure they all fitted in this slot and weren't going to fall out no matter how hard you were going on track. So that's quite a nice little thing, but mainly look at the gear lever. This is what you want to see. I love the fact that there's not too much artistry with this gear lever. It just looks purposeful. And also this shift, it already feels really lovely, and just having a wooden top on it, that's just cool, isn't it? So the cabin all looks pretty regular, doesn't it? The F-26 has some home comforts with CarPlay, electric windows and a phone holder. It has cup holders too, but I didn't bother showing you those because we care more about engine capacity than coffee capacity. And what we need is some sort of demo to show you just how fast the Gunther Werks is. Well, we managed to blag a bit of track time at Willow Springs. All we need now is a victim. Look, I found a GT3 RS to have a race against. Now I know the GT3 RS isn't your drag race Porsche, that's the turbo, but it's here, and let's face it, it's not slow. 0 to 60 in that is just over 3 seconds, to 100 I think it's about 7 seconds. It's a very fast car with a very fast gearbox. To give this a little bit of a friendly treat, we're not going to bury it off the line. We're going to roll up to 30 miles an hour and then hit go, because I don't want to be responsible for the clutch and gearbox in this car when it's a 6-speed manual dealing with 1,067 horsepower. So it has over twice the power to weight ratio of a regular GT3 RS in an old 993. I mean, what's it going to be like? Should we get this show on the road? Okay, we are set and ready, good to go. Right, so rolling up to the start line, that's second, third. This gearbox is good. That's 30 miles an hour. Okay, right. Coming up towards the curbs, brace yourselves. This thing hits a bit hard. And go. Turbo boost. Whoa, man, off we go. Wow. Up to 8,000 each gear. Wow. It just consumes third, fourth and fifth. It's, in that short space of time, it has done 3 entire gears. I mean, it absolutely monstered that GT3. This is a astonishingly rapid car. I mean, deeply fast and so exciting when it gets going. Little bit of lag and then it sweeps past 3,500, 4,000 and bang, it's absolutely dusted it. Whoa. Well, that was pretty emphatic, wasn't it? The way the F-26 consumed gears was mind-blowing. In a straight line, it's a complete monster. But is this really that surprising? You see, it uses an original Mezger engine, and back in the 1970s, Hans Mezger was getting towering outputs by combining turbos with his flat 6. In 1976, the first 935 had 590 horsepower. The next year, it gained twin turbos for 630, and the year after that, the fabled Moby Dick arrived with 845 horsepower from a twin-turbo 3.2. And this, don't forget, was 50 years ago. Admittedly, engine longevity didn't count for much then. Today, Gunther Werks offers a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty on the F-26, which is, well, exceptional actually. The engine itself is the work of Porsche tuning specialists Rothsport Racing. All vehicle assembly, though, is done at Gunther Werks HQ in Huntington Beach. We went there to have a poke around. So here we are at Gunther Werks, and I thought I'd just take the opportunity to give you a bit of a guided tour of this place, because they do an awful lot of stuff here, not least completely clear coat carbon cars done with Pagani's style of weave. And then you come back through here and you've got all the glitterball colours of things. That's not actually ruby stone red, but it looks a lot like it could be. Last year, Gunther Werks did a paint job that was $140,000 worth. Anyway, we're going to go down this corridor. This is the parts depot sort of on this side. And here we've got various designs of wheels they do, which is handy because we're going to pop into here next because they have 5-axis milling machines. So the wheels start on these racks. You've got all the aluminium blanks, but they come in from there. They then go through the first machine and get the first pass, if you like. Then they end up like this, not quite finished at that stage, because then they go through this machine, which puts the finishing touches onto them. Now I'm going to do something completely useless for a video, which is this is really light. This is a magnesium wheel casting. It weighs nothing really. Anyway, we're going to carry on back out of here and we're going to head over to here, which is the paint shop area. And there's a few things I want to show you, okay, because it just shows the lengths that Gunther Werks goes to get these cars prepped and ready. And this is, don't forget, this is an old 993 chassis, which has been re-strengthened. It's been fully galvanized with this rather sort of lovely coat to it. And yet they've left the chassis plate bare in there. So you know it's still an original car. It just looks totally brand new. But the other thing we can do here is you can see how much extra strengthening. This whole bar is completely new. It's just the most obvious thing I can show you on the car to show you the strengthening that goes into it. It's not just this, there's more bars in here and under the back of here. And you can sort of see how much when they strip it down to start again, I mean, they strip it down, don't they? There's not a lot left of this stuff. So in here, they can do all their prototyping and things for 3D printing and stuff. Look, here's a aero disc wheel they've been working on. That is the F-26 prototype headlight. I do really like the aluminium steering wheel boss. That's lovely, especially the click. So they've got titanium exhaust components here, flat 6 on a bench. That's always quite cool. And then the more cosmetic bits, the door pulls and the 3D printed mirror housing. So they've got a load of stuff in here, but there's something even cooler to look at back that way. So we'll head there now. This is what I wanted you to see. It's essentially Iron Man's Gunther Werks, and no, I'm not actually joking. I've been told it's not actually owned by Robert Downey Jr., but it is owned by a very good customer of Gunther Werks who wanted something completely unique to him. So this is a one-of-one Speedster turbo, so 840 horsepower and all the rest, but that's not the interesting bit on this one because it really is inspired by Iron Man. So it has in here Iron Man's arc reactor chest thingy, and then better than that, down here the gear lever is inlaid with the Infinity Stones. They are real actual jewels, and all the gold you see here, everywhere here and in the headlights, is 24 karat gold plate. I dread to think what it has cost that customer to have that car. But that's not all, because this little box over here contains the keys to the car, which are solid gold. Right, that's enough pretty stuff. I think we need to go and do something proper with the car. That one-off is called Project Endgame. See what they did there? Anyway, Gunther Werks currently builds about 20 cars per year. In total, only 26 F-26s are being built, each priced at $1.5 million, or about half a DLS turbo. Incidentally, it's named after the F-22 Raptor fighter aircraft, with which it has almost nothing in common, so that's a curious one. But let's skate over that and take it for a proper drive. So I've never driven a Gunther Werks before, but so far I think we're going to get on just fine. Right, 30 miles an hour. Wow! I mean, the amount of power, actually the traction, it's got this high-tech traction control in it. You hear it just chuntering and cutting a little bit, but it's not holding the car back. I mean, this feels really, really exciting. a little bit of wheel spin, but my God, it just goes. And the power delivery, the turbos, they're just majestic once they get going. Right, let's drop it back down to 4th and just surf that power. Because there you go, at around 4,000, it's just rampant away. It just pushes it home. My, that is ballistic. It's so exciting, and the whole car is dancing around. It's got rose jointed suspension, and you can really tell these cars with so little bushing in them just feel their way down the road. It's properly cool. It's very true to what an old race car you'd imagine would feel like. I haven't driven a 993 GT2, but I think this feels like one of those turned up to 11. So yeah, I found the DLS Turbo super exciting, but it doesn't feel as ferocious and fearsome as this is. That had this lovely linear power delivery where turbos always seem to be there all the time. This, I mean, considering the power it's developing from a 4-litre air-cooled engine, you'd imagine it would have lag like an old 935/78, like Moby Dick. But actually, it doesn't, and it's really tractable as well. I mean, it's a noisy car. You wouldn't want to do a lot of distance in it, and the brakes are super firm underfoot, but up in the canyons, I mean, this is absolutely wicked. I think it's bloody impressive. There's no understeer on it at all. I think they've been quite brave with the balance here, and I'm very glad it's got traction control, because I wouldn't be being this brave with it, I don't think, if it didn't. The feel you get through the chassis, through the steering, it's everything you want an old 993 to be. It's not too hoppy at the front. It doesn't feel like you've got a sort of lightweight nose that's bobbing around. For considering it's only got less than 40% of its weight on the nose, I'm amazed how obedient and how grippy that is. But then it's got a really wide tyre on the front, of like 295. It's a proper thing. It feels like the rear wheels are trying to tuck under the car and just catch up with the fronts. It's more power than it needs, and that's always just a great thing, isn't it?
Singer bestrides the world of restored Porsches like a colossus, so comparisons with the DLS Turbo are inevitable. But the two cars are fundamentally different. Singer's reimagined machine is more sculptural, exquisitely detailed, has better manners, can turn its hand to cruising. Gunther Werks' remastered car isn't a cruiser. It would exhaust you on a long drive, forever tugging at its leash. Because this is a rawer, more visceral and explosive machine. I'll be honest, I didn't come into this with particularly high expectations, but I've come away with massive admiration. It's single-minded and challenging, and in that the F-26 successfully channels the spirit of those old Slantnose 935s. And they were just the coolest things ever.